You all asked for it. So in today's episode, I will be sharing with you more of my home favorites. A few months ago, I did an episode of my home favorites, even my home sentimental favorites. So today, in this episode, I will be sharing more with you. This is Alexandra Villarroel Abrego, and I welcome you to another episode of Alexandra TV. Now, today's episode is about my home favorites. This is a very highly requested video because just a few months ago, or even maybe it was a few years ago, I did a video on what were my home favorites, but like sentimental edition, right? So today, that's what we're going to be doing. I will be showing you more things in my home that have a special and important meaning to me. Now, before we get started for that, I invite you to go and download your free posters of the A.V.A pyramid and the Wheel of the Year. These are two concepts that I developed to help you grow and always, reach your next level. Here at Alexandra TV, as you know, it's a personal and professional development channel. So it's all about growing and learning and just, becoming your best self. So if you want these two tools that are completely free that we have for you, just go in the description below this video, go and download them now. All right, so without any further ado, well, let's begin the exploration of my favorites. Follow me. Come into my home. All right, so the first stop in my home is here in my office, in my home office, and it's right behind my desk where I do most of my work, and it's right here. It's this beautiful, I guess we can call it bookshelf, but it's more of a decorative shelf. Now, when I was, thinking about what are my favorites at home for this second video of my sentimental favorites, I had a few here. So then I said, you know what, I'll just show the whole thing, right? So let me go through all of these different levels of this shelf so that you can see what are my home favorites. So the first thing that you see here, many of you already know what it is. It's of course the A.V.A Pioneer Trophy with the A.V.A passport, obviously. Now, I cannot wait, I have it here because I think they're so beautiful, but I cannot wait for you all to show me pictures of these when you receive them, honestly. Then after that, here we have my beautiful amethyst tree that I absolutely love. I got this one as a gift in 2019 and I really been loving it ever since. It's actually handmade. How beautiful is that? Then I have here my sand clock. Now I love this sand clock because I actually use it. So very often when I'm working and I have like a task to do and I want to hurry up, I'm going to take my sand clock, put it on my desk and say, okay, so in this, by the time this is, done, I have to finish with this email that I have to write or whatever I have to do. Then of course, here we have a unicorn. You must have a unicorn on your shelf, obviously. Then here we have another amethyst and another crystal. Now these two are actually things that I have purchased at Crystal Dreams. This is my friend's store. So two of my friends, they're twins that we've been friends since high school. They started with one crystal store. They opened another one here in Montreal and now recently another one. They have 3 stores and they have some of the best crystals that you'll find. And you can also shop online if you want. This is not sponsored, they're my friends. Then here we have the hand. As you can see, it's just called the hand. And it's all with the lines, of the hand and everything. Just a little decorative piece. Here we have my book, of course, Beyond Beauty. I mean, gotta have my book on my shelf. Let me know in the comment section if you have a copy of my book. Now, in the next level, talking about books, we have more books. Now, these are books that to me are important and mean something. The first one that you'll find there is a book about Oprah Winfrey and her legacy. I am a big admirer of the work that Oprah has done throughout her life. And I remember getting this book in 2011, right after her show, her daytime talk show ended, right? After 25 years. So I have this book there. Then the next book that I have is The Human Brain. So it's about the human brain. I am passionate about that. At the same time, I have to be in the work that I do and being a coach and helping people really, reprogram their mind and everything. So I have this book and I honestly went through the whole book, and there's notes in it and everything. Then I have the timelines of everything. If you are a student of mine, you know that I am very passionate about anthropology, about ancient civilizations, about how things happen throughout history. I love to know how we got to where we are as humans, as civilization, and what happened before us. So in this book, there's literally, it's called The Timelines of Everything, because there's the timelines of everything in history. Then we have another book, Coach Essentials Coaching Tools. So of course, as a coach, I need to have this book, which has a lot of different coaching tools and things like that. And then the other two books are the Book of Psychology and the Book of Mythology, two topics that I'm passionate about. The Book of Psychology, it helps you understand all of the different theories of psychology, you know, because there's been a lot of people throughout history that have come up with their theories. So here it's like it has all of them. And then mythology, so all of the different mythologies across the world, across time and civilizations. And then on top of the books, we have, of course, the Buddha, that is just sitting right there on top of them. And then finally, on the last shelf of this beautiful bookcase, I guess we can call it, we have three important things. The first one is actually four. The first one is a luo pan. Now, a luo pan is something that is used in Feng Shui, but especially by the experts of Feng Shui. It's in order to really measure, you know, the north, the south, the east, the west, but in a very precise way. So I have this luo pan here because I love Feng Shui, and it was actually one of my students who told me about this luo pan and, you know, the powers of it, I guess, and how you use it. Then I have a little set of cards, and I love this one because I bought it as a decorative piece, but every time my grandmother used to come and visit me, I would always let her, I guess, play with it, right? I would always give her my set of cards because she loves to play cards. And it's funny because now the cards are all used, but I love that because now every time I'm gonna see these cards, I'm gonna think about my grandmother because I remember she used to always play with it. And then of course we have a Zen garden. A Zen garden is something that is used for relaxation purposes. So I figured here in my office, I should have that if I ever want to relax. And then finally, last but definitely not least, because this is one of my favorite pieces ever, it's something that I bought in Bolivia. It's a chess game. Now, what's interesting about this chess game is if you notice on one side, there's the native people, and on the other side, there's the Europeans. I remember the first time that I saw it when I was traveling to Bolivia. It was the first time that I ever saw a chess game like that, and the meaning of it, you know, and the history of it, and how sad, you know, of what happened here in the Americas many years ago. But I wanted to buy it because I realized that that's history and that's what happened. And it's horrible, you know, that it happened, but it just reminds you of, you know, knowing the history and knowing what really happened. So I like to just keep it here, you know, in my bookshelf. Now, here we have my second home sentimental favorite, or should I say like the 15th, because I already showed so many on my shelf. But this is a beautiful gift that I received many years ago, 2014, 2015, I believe it was. And it's a gift that an ex-love of mine brought to me from the Philippines. And I always say that this relationship was a beautiful relationship, very healthy, very beautiful. And it was one of the great loves of my life. And he brought me this, so I always keep it in special places. And I love the fact that, first of all, this was made by hand. But this here we have all of the different seasons of the year. And then this is basically to put some teas in it, right? So I love the fact that when you close it, it like closes like this. It's just beautiful. So I like to keep it right here. Another one of my home favorites, and this one is not necessarily sentimental, right? But it's really one of my favorites, and it's this wall here. These two things that you see on the wall are two antique printer drawers. So I have a great passion for antiques, right? And all things antiques. So I bought these two beautiful drawers, which, like I said, are just drawers of antique printers. Now, back then, before we had the little printers that we have now, you know, it was like a big machine with all these drawers, and here's where they would store the ink, right? So the different inks for printing. So the reason why I have it on this wall is because I want to put crystals, little crystals in each of the compartments, right? In each of the little holes here. So that's a project that I have to do in the next, I would say, few months. Let me know in the comment section if you'd like to see the finalized version of this project. So here we are, perhaps you remember, but in one of the first favorites video, I talked about this piece of furniture that I think is absolutely beautiful. And of course, also about my beautiful bamboo, which is still looking great, as you can see. Now, there are two things that were added to this section of my home that are very important to me and that mean something to me. First of all, on top of this furniture, we have two books. The first one is the Aesop's Fables. I hope I'm pronouncing it well. And then of course the classic Jean de La Fontaine Fable. Now these two books are books of fables, right? And books of stories. Now the reason why I have them here, it's because many people don't understand and don't realize the power of all the fables that we were told when we were kids. You know, the stories that we were told, they all meant something. They all explain life. The greatest teachings in humanity, in the world, come from fables, right? And that's how kids learn the most. That's how we learn about morals and values and the important things in life, you know? So I really love to have these two books here so that, you know, people, when they come to visit, they can go through the books, read some fables. I also, of course, like to read a lot of fables whenever I have some time here, and that's why I have it here. Now, right under this beautiful piece of furniture, we have 3 cauldrons. Now, it's pretty funny because most people that come to visit me, I think, you know, a lot of them just probably think it's weird. Why does she have 3 cauldrons, you know, under this piece of furniture? I even had a lot of friends of mine, after I explained to them why I have them there and what it means, they said, oh, I just thought you ran out of space in your kitchen, you know, and that's why you just randomly put the cauldrons there. But there actually is a meaning. So cauldrons, for the longest time in history, and especially in, you know, old civilizations and times, it was a very powerful symbol, and it represents the uterus, the womb of the woman. Because whatever you would put into a cauldron back then, you know, to make food, would become transformed and would feed you, and would become, in a way, life. The same way that when a man plants his seed in a woman, it, you know, she transforms it into something. It was like making, you know, just fruits and vegetables or, you know, meat and turning it into food. So the cauldron always had the representation, and it meant that it was that, right? It was like the womb of life. Now, the reason why I have 3 of them there, it's because it represents the triple moon goddess. The triple moon goddess being the 3 phases through which a woman goes through in her life. So a woman is going to go through the virgin phase, the innocent phase, the young girl phase, then the mother, right? Becomes the mother and becomes its, you know, full woman, if I can say it like that. And then finally, the last phase is the sage woman. Some call it the crone. I prefer to call it the sage woman. And it's also the 3 cycles of the moon. So that's why I like to have 3 there. Also, and of course, without getting into all the details, because this could be a whole video, so let me know if you want a whole video about this. It's very interesting, the fact that, you know, for the longest time and even up to this day, cauldrons are associated to witches, right? When we think about, let's say, Halloween, we think about cauldrons. There's a lot of cauldrons that are, you know, are sold as, you know, the little bags where when kids go trick-or-treating. Now, there's a reason for this. It's because sage women back then, you know, women who were healers, women who helped people, women who believed in the goddess, well, during matriarchal times, they used to use a lot of these cauldrons, and they always had cauldrons, you know, outside of their home and inside of their home. So during Inquisition time, when the Catholic Roman Church began to want everyone to, you know, begin to force, if I can say it like that, everyone to transform and to change religions, they started persecuting anyone who had cauldrons. So a woman who had a cauldron in her home was considered a witch, and she was murdered. So anyways, again, we're not going to get into the whole story, but it's very interesting. You know, this has a lot of power and a lot of symbolism. Here we are in my kitchen. And here, as you can see, we have 2 very particular and interesting objects. And these are 2 of my favorites here at home. These are called las cochinitas. And it's something that in Bolivia, and let me know in the comment section if perhaps in your country too, they do this. But in Bolivia, they basically give this one, they give it to women for their bachelorette parties, and this one to men for their bachelor parties, right? So I think these are so funny. Believe me that when I have people over and they see this, they're like, what is this, Alex? Why do you have this in your kitchen? But it's cups, basically, right? It's cups, but it's decorative pieces. So I really love these. I think they're very different. I think they're very particular. And it's actually my aunt in Bolivia that gave it to me. The last time that I went, when I was, you know, on my last day, I was doing my luggages and everything, and she came to see us, and she was like, take this home. This is funny. And finally, to end and conclude this video of my favorite objects in my home, you know, sentimental but also meaningful edition, well, I had to show this pestle and mortar. Now, this is very interesting because the story is kind of cute. So my mom, when she got pregnant with me, she was already here in Montreal. And when she was pregnant, she really had cravings for a thing called masaco, which is something that is found in Bolivia. And in order to make masaco, which is made with plantain, well, she had to buy this because you need to make it like this with this. So in the 80s, it was very difficult for her to find this pestle and mortar here in Montreal, but she found one and she was able to make herself some masaco. So I think it's absolutely cute that she was craving that when she was pregnant with me. And now I'm so happy to have it here in my home. Now I think it's beautiful. First of all, I think it's, you know, handmade. It's a beautiful decorative piece, but honestly, I also use it to make some masacos now because it's absolutely delicious. So that is it for my home favorites. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, don't forget to like it, to share it with all of your friends, and of course to subscribe for new episodes every week here on Alexandra TV. In the comment section below, let me know which one of these favorites perhaps are your favorites. I would love to read from you. So that is it for today, and I will be seeing you very soon.